Here we are, Sean and Cass, Very A Podcast, back at it again. This time from lovely Las Vegas.
You can really tell from the difference in gray couches.
Definitely. Definitely. The big selling point of this place when you booked it, you said they have an L-shaped couch. Sounds good to me. It's better than any other shape.
I do love an L-shaped couch.
Yeah, you do.
But they're not the most... They're conducive to a podcast like this, so that's good.
We make anything conducive to a podcast.
Yeah, we make it work. We make it work.
You're fully dressed as me today.
Yes. We wear the same size, so it's easy.
Yeah. It's kind of funny when I see an outfit that I would and should be wearing, just fully on you.
Well, I was like, I should wear this shirt. And I was like, well, I'll wear these pants too, and,
It's part of our love language. So
many people... walk up to us, last night, someone was like, hey, either you cowboys have a lighter, and then I turned around and they were like, oh, sorry, and then the other day, they're like, sorry, I didn't mean to call you a cowboy, and then the other day, we were somewhere else, and someone said, oh, a couple fine gentlemen, and then they saw me, and they were like, oh, sorry, but I realized, my presentation is a little more masculine, so.
They think you're a boy?
Yeah, I get mistaken. Wearing your clothes doesn't help.
Yeah, definitely not. But I think it's one way of saying that we love each other.
It is one of my top love languages is twinning.
You know my new way of telling you I love you?
Yeah, I do know, but you can tell other people.
I slide into your Instagram DMs.
You're totally ruining your algorithm.
My algorithm on Instagram is completely destroyed. I don't even know how to describe this genre of memes they're not even memes. It's just like a shot of a bridge with some text over it that says like, I miss you. Even though we can't be together, I'll always think about you. It's like, do you want me to read some examples of some memes I've been sending you?
Yeah, sure.
I for some reason, this was cracking me up last night. That this is a genre. And that I think it's because we've been traveling so much together and the phones are always listening. They see where we're going. Like they're like, oh, these two are in a relationship. Let me start sending this guy stuff about relationships. And
no, I think it all went downhill when you sent me monkeys hugging.
That's what started it. I saw monkeys hugging and I was like, that's so cute. And I sent it to you. And now I get stuff like this. This one says, because at the end of the day, you're the person I want to come home to. You're the person I want to tell how my day went. You're the person I want to share my happiness, sadness, frustration, and success with.
It's beautiful.
That's it. It just shows a beach, and it says
that.
This next one shows like a long alleyway in Portugal, and it says, I may not be able to hold you in my arms right now, but I hold you in my heart every minute of every day.
You know what these are? These are like the greeting cards of memes.
Yeah.
Like someone else put in the work to think of something nice to say, and instead of saying anything nice to your partner, you just send them a meme that you're like, this pretty much sums it up.
You sent me one. This was very nice of you.
Oh, yeah?
I really appreciate you sending me this.
Yeah, I got you back.
You said, I hope my man wins in life with me by his side, watching him grow and encouraging him. I want to see him on the top, living his best life impossible. It says best life impossible. I love it. These crack me up. You sent me another one. It's just a shot out of the front of a car driving down the road, and it says, home isn't always four walls. Sometimes home is that guy you met unexpectedly with the kindest heart, the prettiest eyes, the most handsome smile, and the best laugh. So
it's true.
We sent each other about 50 of these.
We destroyed our algorithm together.
We did.
We said we're going down together.
That is definitely.
I tried to send you ones with 3 paragraphs of text, so you had to read them all.
No, they got funnier and funnier. They got so long that I'm like, this is just ridiculous.
I was saying you one. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't even read this one.
I think there's something very romantic about blowing up your algorithm together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, fuck this app. Our love comes first. That's what this app should be for.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back to wholesome time.
Well, it's our way of communicating when we're in different rooms.
Literally, that's why I sent it to you last night. It was like, I know that I'm not close enough to hug you right now, but if I were, I would. And you were like maybe 20 feet away from me. But I'm
And I was like, maybe in 20 minutes. No, I'm just kidding.
It's about as far as we get from each other. So, like, if we're ever going to use these memes, now's the time.
It's very sweet.
I think it worked because it made you have little giggles. And
yeah, no, when I finally, wasn't in that app, and then I opened it up, and I just was like, what am I even doing?
you get starry eyes for me.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, look at it, the meme king.
Yeah.
Knowing exactly the ones to send.
Oh, my Lord. Well, we made it to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas. But we'll
Yeah, I
spill
guess
the
it
beans.
does. I mean, if we're recording this in Vegas,
It's still staying in Vegas.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I've actually lived that saying a couple times when I was a young boy. I first came here like on my own. I came to Las Vegas like I tried to come here. I wanted to.
Like
booked
what
a flight.
age?
22 or 23, maybe 20 years ago.
Alone.
No, what the fuck would I be doing here alone? No, I did the classic, like, four dudes rent one hotel room together,
Okay,
and,
yeah.
You sleep for 3 hours and an entire weekend.
Yeah.
You go back to New York, like, looking green and gray in complexion.
Yeah.
And you kind of half forgot all the stuff that went down there, but when you remember, you say, I'm going to leave that one behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about a bachelorette party I went to in Atlantic City. I was like, that was just
Yeah. It was a shit show.
It was just a shit show. We'll just leave that in Atlantic City.
Yeah. I don't even know anything about it, so.
Well, when male strippers are involved, you're just like...
Yeah.
It's just a little cringy.
Yeah, when paid help is involved in any kind of sexual picadillos, it's just not as... I don't know. To me, it's like not as exciting.
The first bachelorette party you go to, it's like you kind of... Everyone wants to go all out, and then everyone was like, okay, that's what that is. I think we're good.
Yeah. Yeah, same thing with guys. It's like, we've all been to 2 or 3 bachelor parties that were like, no one would shut the fuck up about like cocaine and strippers and going out and let's fuck some whores and all this stuff. And then you do that a couple times and you're like, then every bachelor party from there on out becomes like, hey, I don't want anything like that. I just want a good time. I just want to have a couple beers with my friends. I want to play a round of golf with my boys. Like, it always becomes like that settled down version, but it's like the first couple out of the gate, bad news.
Yeah, you're like, we gotta see what this is all about.
Yeah, yeah. I've always heard.
And then you learn, and you're like, you know what? I think we're good. That's weird. It's kind of weird.
Well, that's how I would feel about this city in general. I'm
Sin City.
Sin City. Yeah, I ain't trying to knock this place. Like they've done a beautiful job out here. A really beautiful job putting this city together. But it's so it's so hot. I don't know what else to say. Like, it's so hot here that it kind of drives you a little crazy to begin with. You're a little hot and dehydrated, and it's so bright. And you can't wait for the sun to go down. And that's when all the crazy shit starts happening.
That's when the party pops out.
That's when that party starts popping off, baby.
Yeah, I've been trying to think about this as far as like, okay, Las Vegas, like obviously it gives a lot and there's a lot to be experienced. But it kind of, ultimately, we've been here for a week and I'm like, it might take as much as it gives.
Yeah.
To the soul and the spirit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, whoa, this is like so bright and so fun and everything you could possibly want is out here. But it's just like almost a city built on like, hey, the good times are outside of yourself. And here, look at this flashy thing and this fun thing and this game and this stripper and this. And it's like this debaucherous, like hedonistic, outside of yourself world.
Yes.
And when you keep doing it on the outside, you kind of are like, okay, I'm having fun.
Mm-hmm.
But is my soul satiated in a genuine happiness sort of vibration?
Well, everything here is designed to not allow for you to have that moment of clarity that you just described.
Yeah.
That like moment of just like, wait, what am I doing? Like, why am I standing in this place right now? Why am I giving my money over to a casino? Why am I giving my money to a stripper? Why am I, everything here is designed, even the mystique around this place You know, it's like kind of, it's just like, don't think about it. Don't
Go
worry about it.
wild.
Don't worry about it. Go crazy.
Go wild.
Sleeping when the sun's down. Don't worry about that. Sleep when the sun's up. You know, don't sleep at all.
Don't worry about time.
Don't worry about healthy food. Don't worry about time.
Don't worry about
anything.
secondhand smoke.
Don't worry about
Don't worry
it.
about debt.
Yes.
Don't worry about...
exactly. Because if you do, in this place, it hits you like a fucking freight train of reality. You know, like standing there and being like, where's my friends? Wait, what? What the heck is going on? Trust me, I've been there. That's why I've told you pretty much every time we've come here, I'm like, that's it. We're good. We don't need to go to Vegas anymore. And we end up here every couple years for some reason or another.
Well, we like to have fun, and it keeps calling us back.
We do like to have fun. We do.
And we've been having this is kind of like our week. We've been on a filming road trip, and we were like, okay, well, it's a 5-week road trip or something.
3 weeks of filming.
3 weeks of filming.
Then we were like, let's have a week of us
let's have a week where we just live on the road. We had
Mhm.
these tickets that we kind of planned this around, and then let's get back to it. And I think was like a good, smart thing to do, is like break it up a little bit.
Yeah, totally. And especially to do it in Vegas, where it's like,
there's no temptation to film.
there's no temptation to film. There really isn't. Every day I try to go out there with that eye for things, and I'm like, it's literally so ugly. And I'm not knocking the city. It's just like, it's so bright. It's so bright.
Yeah, anywheres.
Like, it just,
the bright
light, it just doesn't work well for what we're doing. So we kind of knew like we were going to land in Vegas and kind of just have us a good time, you know? So, yeah, we rolled in here. We rolled in here a week ago. We're going to have spent 7 nights in Vegas. This is insane. This might be a world record. I don't know if anyone that hasn't lived here has ever spent 7 nights out here. And
thank God we were off the strip, and I found like the cheapest Airbnb possible.
Yes. All I can say is Cass could probably start her own podcast as to like how to travel right, how to do things right, how to set yourself up right. Like you could probably put together like a Church of Chill guidebook for how to just do it right. Like you're all about like, we don't need to be over here. Let's get that. Let's switch this. Let's swap this thing at the last second and save ourselves some money, you know.
That said, I do it what's right for you. I've made myself really good at figuring out what's right for us, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know
but
if it's
usually
universal.
what's right for me applies to most people. They're just like our friends that are out here going to these same shows as us and everything. They're fucking like 15 years younger than me. They're, you know, they can handle something else. But if they did what we did, they'd have more longevity. That's what I think.
You got to live and learn.
Yes, you have to live and learn. But you're the best. We were pulling in here on Sunday night, long drive from Ojai, California. It was like 6 hours. And we pulled in, and you got us this sweet Airbnb off the strip. We kind of like landed here, threw our stuff down, and we're like, punk rock bowling's happening out here. And Devo is headlining punk rock bowling tonight. Like, should we go? Like, fuck it. We're here. Let's go. Devo is, they're one of our favorite bands. I don't know what else to say about them. They're just like, they're one of our favorites. If you've listened to us for a long time, you know they're like part of the sacred few. And we've been really wanting to see Devo because we haven't seen them in 5 years.
Yeah, we had like the most epic candy flip Devo and then Ween lineup at Desert Days in like Paris, California in 2019, like right before the pandemic. And that was like our first time going to a festival. And holy shit, I was like, I didn't know that there were so many. I felt so unique being like, I was like, oh, I'm like this hippie punk person. And then there's like actually thousands of us.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands. I don't know.
You realize that at Desert Days.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm like, oh, that's actually cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we got really lucky. We're like, it's sold out. But how can we not try?
It's sold out, but you're always like, come on, it couldn't really be sold out. Like, we have to go find out firsthand. And we went to the venue. It was like a big outdoor thing in downtown Las Vegas. And went through security. This is 10 minutes before Devo is supposed to play. 10, 20 minutes before Devo is supposed to play. Like, we walk up to the venue. And we're like, we'll take 2 tickets, please. And they're like, oh, no, this is completely sold out. Like, you ain't getting in here. And we're like, no. And the security people kind of felt weird. They're like, I'm so sorry. And we're like, there's nothing we can do right now. Like, wink, wink. Like, there's nothing that can be done. We can't get in there. And they're like, no, sorry. And we're like, okay. So I put my tail between my legs and start fucking walking off. And your Cass just grabs me and like walks me over to the box office. She's like, let's just, one more thing. Let's cross our T's and dot our I's for once in our life. And yeah, you went up to the box office and you're like, what did you say again?
I said, is there any way in the world we could see Devo tonight? And they said, no, it's sold out. You'd have to buy tickets for the whole weekend, which means that there's obviously tickets available.
Yeah.
But they're not selling them as like individual nights. And it's Sunday night. I was like, well, we're only in town for one night.
Yeah.
And she like looks to her side. And then I see her lift up the stamp, and I just put out my hand, and she stamps me. And then you put out your hand, and she stamps you, and she's like, just go over through VIP. You just have to go enter through VIP. So she hooked it up.
Oh, my God.
And we slipped in there, and that was great.
Yeah, we did. We slipped right in there right before Devo was about
I mean,
to play.
that gives me rave reviews of this festival, is that, like you can't count on that, but it's like, look, in this situation, it would be ridiculous to say, like, hey, you guys can't, we put on this festival because there's amazing bands, and, like, you can't see this one because there's, like, false scarcity.
That's the thing. I think any festival or concert or event or party should have, like, a contingency thing for people like us. You know what I mean? Because how much lure does it add to the whole thing around the festival that you're like, we got in there. We just walked in there. They let us in. I just think it's a cool vibe for any event or festival to have. That, like, security or box office or whatever, that they would know, like, hey, everyone's allowed to let 10 people in here tonight. Make 10 people's night. You know? That'll spread the good vibes about this place far and wide.
Yeah.
But I doubt that was an official policy, but you flashed your baby blues and you gave her your little puppy dog eyes.
Well, it's you can't say it enough. You're not gonna. You wouldn't get a ticket. You wouldn't get in if you didn't ask.
In this life, so far what I've seen, you don't get shit you don't ask for.
Yeah.
If you ask nicely, you almost get anything you want.
And you could also think, like, look, in this, yeah, okay, technically there's rules, but they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, it's an open air venue. We'll be able to hear the band. There's plenty of space.
And people that thought the rules were real, when they encounter a being like you who's basically playing in a universe where the rules aren't real, like, sometimes they can get quickly hypnotized and just do something like stamp your hand. That's what we ran into.
Well, because I said, is there any way in the world? And, like, of course there's a way in the world.
Yeah.
Is there any way in the world? Of course there's a way in the world.
Of course there is. There is a way, and it would require me just hitting you with this stamp real quick.
Yeah.
So we went in there. And
I don't recommend not getting tickets to whatever it is you really want to see, because StubHub will RAPE you, but
I recommend waiting till the last second on a lot of things.
Yeah, but sometimes you
it's
get
a risk.
Boxed out.
There's a risk involved, but it helps kind of temper your attachment to going to the thing in the first place. Do you know how much better of a time we had getting in like that than if we would have bought tickets weeks ago? Like, there was a thrill to that. Like, we had just come to Vegas, and the first thing we did was win.
Yeah, but it's cost me, where I'm like, I don't have tickets for tonight or tomorrow night, and then all of a sudden I'm like, they're so expensive, and our hearts are set of going in, and we're just about to lose so much, like, spend so much money on this.
Yeah.
You know? So I feel it's kind of, Vegas is so many lessons here, because it really feels like life is like a game, obviously, and we're like playing this game, and like sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down.
It's the game that moves as you play.
It's the game that moves as you play. Yeah, and you know, I don't know. We did do a little gambling. Can we say that?
Yeah, we can.
We did do a little gambling.
You're a gambling addict.
I really enjoyed it. We practiced blackjack back here at the place, and like went through there's a system.
Yeah.
You follow the system, and my idea was like, okay, Between the two of us, we'll put $200 down on blackjack, and it'll last us however long it lasts us.
But you're willing to lose 200.
Yeah, you kind of have to have a number in your head.
Which seems crazy.
$200 is a lot.
It just seems like a crazy amount to say, like, we're going to go sit down and try to lose this.
Well, that's what Vegas will do.
Yes.
You. But just think about
Have you convinced that that's a normal way of looking at your money?
Just like, $200.
Your money that you work for.
Right.
That we literally have to pull out of goddamn thin air through the portal of ideas. Like the idea that there's just the way we got that money. And then to be like, we'll take some of this and give it to this place that's a predatory gambling establishment.
You just start thinking about like all the things we didn't do. We didn't go to Meow Wolf. We didn't go to the punk rock museum. Like we saved.
We don't drink.
We don't drink. We saved a couple $100 there, just in experience. So we're like, okay, we're gonna put.
We got this way cheaper place off the strip.
Yeah, we're like, we're gonna put this money into an experience that we don't know if it'll last 10 minutes or 4 hours. You
never know.
Yeah, but we did pretty good to start off, to the point where I was just like...
To the point where you were Googling, can you make a living by gambling on blackjack?
I did.
What did you think, Cass? What did you think, like, we had tapped into something by just kind of knowing the basic rules of when to hit and when to not hit, that we had tapped into something?
Yeah, we sat at the table twice, and both times we walked away with... One of the times we doubled our money. The other time we...
The first time we won $30, and the
second, we were very close to winning $100, but we blew it in our last hand.
And the second time we won 75. Again, we were very close to winning probably like 150.
We won 75. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we had those two experiences, and like Cass couldn't shut off about it. Like, Cass, you were so funny. You were just like, man, if I only knew it was that easy. All I have to do is take you to some place and we can gamble. Like, you were like, we had so much fun. You wouldn't stop. And like the whole night, the whole next day, you were like, we had so much fun.
I
last
love
night.
Playing cards. I don't know. I'm just like, I grew up playing bridge. I grew up playing hearts and everything. So I don't know. I love cards maybe.
That's so fun. It's so
fun. It is fun.
It's so fun that I have to have a policy about it.
Yeah.
I have to be like, I can't do this. I'm not doing this. But I don't know. We had a great fucking time, right?
I did. And another lesson that I'm just getting from this blackjack is, okay, so one, I thought, made $130 or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, maybe if we sat at the tables every day and had a budget, I'm literally in pre-production trying to produce a movie about gambling addiction. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile,
you're getting pulled into
it
yourself.
Up in it myself. Yeah. And I know
it's like, but what if we didn't make the movie and instead took our time and money and just sat at these tables and really committed ourselves?
I mean, it's a ridiculous way to think, but I'm just honest about where the thoughts go.
Yeah.
And so I Googled, and know what it says. It's like, you have an edge, a slight edge, if you're able to count cards. I'm never going to be able to count cards.
No.
So
they've set it up so you can't. There's infinite decks now.
Yeah, so I was like, that's never happening. I thought, but we just had some beginner's luck. And that's another way that they get you, with a little beginner's luck, and all of a sudden you're like, well.
They'll get you either way. They'll get you either way because your nervous system is completely hijacked.
Yeah.
When you even walk in there, just the act of going through those doors, your nervous system's completely hijacked. And there's so many little things that they do. Like, everyone knows all the cliche things. Like, there's no clocks, there's no windows. They keep it really cool in there. But there's a lot of things going on a lot of. I mean, it's free drinks. Like, if you're just like, I just want to have a couple drinks. Those drinks might have cost you like $12 at the bar. They're free at this thing, but you're gonna lose $200 in pursuit of those drinks. Mm-hmm. So like, there's just like there's something for everyone. But you come out
feeling like, well, I did win these. I
guess these drinks. kind of. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think it's beautiful because where it ended is us sitting down and like losing 3 hands in a row real fast.
Lost $90 last night.
Yeah, because they only had $15 minimum tables, and we're like, all right, let's do it. We've been on a good streak. Let's do it, and we just boom. I mean, I don't think we won one hand.
No,
it was like 3 hands, both of us. Okay.
Yep. So
Brutal.
overall, we're up $25 if it's over. If it's over, we won $25 while we were in Vegas. If it's
I think
not, we'll be back.
there's something nice about for us like losing because a lot of people will chase the loss, but I think you and I when we lose, we're like, all right, we're cutting our losses.
Yeah, I've done both.
I mean, yeah, and I'm sure
You do.
we're not, Vegas isn't over yet, but
No, and
but I feel my instinct is to just say cut our losses, like
there was no losses.
yeah,
We won.
cut it
Yeah,
rather
pinch
than
it off.
pinch it off. And I like to go out. You know, when we step away from the table, it's usually after losing like 3 hands in a row. It's like, all right, our luck changed. Let's just get out of here.
Yeah, yeah,
But you can't rely on yourself, and that's the whole thing about blackjack in particular is that even if it's like a 50-50 split or whatever with the table is we as humans make emotional decisions. We can't stick to a system. So I've been thinking a lot about the system.
yes.
Or like
Because
stick
that
to
was
the
what I would
system.
jokingly say to you. Is just like when in doubt, like you'd be like, I don't know, should I do? Just stick to the system. Just don't break the rules that you have in place for playing this game right now. Because if you do, it's going to go off the rails.
But life is kind of like that.
Absolutely.
Life is like you have a system of how you do life, and you get a good night's sleep, and you eat,
Yeah.
and you have a way that you're planning to do stuff when you're planning to buy the tickets or when you're planning to do this, and you got to stick to the system because slow is smooth, smooth is fast. But you get emotional and you get FOMO, and you're like, all right, well,
Yes.
we gotta sit at the table right now, and the system should have been like, we do $5 minimum tables. That's part of the system. We gotta wait for one of those to open up.
Yes. And when we're at that table, we're not betting more than the $5 per hand. We're so good at following the system for our life that, like, even though we've been really good on our travels, I feel like I've strayed so far, from, like, the discipline, the system, like, like, being out on the road this long and, like, moving from city to city every 2-3 nights, like, yeah. But that's part of it, that's part of any, life of discipline is you stray
Yeah.
from it for a little bit and then you come back to it and you say, oh yeah, I feel more comfortable doing these things. It's mainly exercise for me. I know I was talking about it on the last one, but me not exercising is just like crazy.
No, that's what it feels like. And then life is like a system, and sometimes you get a 16 and you're like, do I hit or do I stay? Like, it's really hard sometimes to have a 16 and know whether or not you want to hit.
It's really hard.
And so I feel that all the time in life. I'm like, can someone just tell me whether I should hit or not? Life is like,
We just got to weigh the other factors.
I know, but sometimes the factors feel infinite. Sometimes, and sometimes I just end up thinking too much that I start thinking in circles,
Yeah.
of like, should I do this? Should I do this? Would it be better if I did this or do that? Or, and I'm like, can someone just tell me? And it's like, no one can be the boss of you. You have to just follow the system and self-regulate your emotions so that you can just make calm decisions.
Yes.
I think that's just make calm, rational decisions from a place of spaciousness and somatic chillness.
Yes.
Otherwise, you'll be like last night I told you I felt like I got ahead of myself, and then I'm like, okay, now I have to pay for getting ahead of myself for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And like this domino effect of like, okay, now I have to deal with this thing and that thing, and I should have just taken a freaking breath.
Yeah.
Feels like, I don't know. There's been a lot of time spending time in different cities, and it's interesting how they have their own pace.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how to stay on your own pace within a city that wants to get you on a faster pace is like, ooh, okay.
It's tough. Being people like who we are in a city like this is like we're constantly at odds with it. We're constantly doing this push and pull with Vegas. So, I mean, we're here. We're in the game, at least.
It's been fun.
I think like there, when life deals you a 16 in blackjack, there can be, like it doesn't have to be like that shuts down all, cognitive function and you're like, oh, I'm paralyzed by this 16 that life dealt me. Because I think mainly what life is dealing people is 16s.
Yeah, totally.
But I think that, like, we have a good policy, and it doesn't have to be every time, but, like, wouldn't you rather go down swinging if this was baseball?
Well, every time I lost,
If you're going to lose
from
and
hitting,
strike out.
it was very rare that I hit and lost. I don't want to get too into like the rules of blackjack, but a lot of times when I would hit, I wasn't going to win anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So what did feel like, okay, well, I swung.
Yeah.
And there was a couple times that the dealer busted, but based on what cards they had, and you're weighing all those things. But yeah, I do agree. Go down swinging. I do appreciate that kind of sentiment.
Yeah.
That's kind of felt like how it was at Devo. Like, okay, we're here. Like, I'm gonna go down swinging. Like, I'm not gonna take no for an answer.
Yeah. Yeah. At least like, not easily.
Not easily. Yeah.
Yeah. Right after Devo, we went. Devo ended around 11:30. And we went and saw Billy Bragg play at a rooftop pool party. That was fucking incredible. I don't know if our listeners are familiar with the music of Billy Bragg, but highly recommend taking the deep dive. Highly recommend seeing him live if you can get the chance. It's just him and electric guitar, and it's absolutely mesmerizing. And
it's cool to see what one person can do with an electric guitar.
Yeah.
And he's definitely inspiring in that way, because we were listening to him the other day, and I'm like, and it's just him and electric guitar, and I was like, wow. And I listened to it closer, and I was like, oh wow. And so to see him go up like that, I was like, oh, so cool.
Yeah, that was really rad, and I was proud of us for staying up very late and getting in a party vibe. Be young, have fun, drink Pepsi style.
No Pepsi.
You were telling me that you were like, I'm really, on this trip to Vegas, I'm really learning about the difference between being happy and having fun.
Yeah, no, there's definitely, feels like they're tracks and they cross, and sometimes they're on the same track, but sometimes they're parallel, sometimes they totally deviate.
Mm.
And it felt like Vegas kind of, the only reason I'm able to think about this is I've been like, super happy the first couple weeks of this trip. Like, I'm like in my purpose, I'm in my flow, everything's going great. And of course, being on the high of being on the road new and stuff.
Yeah.
But also just meeting new people. So I kind of came it down to like, okay, well, there's like acts of service, acts of community building, acts of creativity. And like, those are like a few foundations of like feeling happy.
Mm-hmm. They're all purpose driven.
Yeah. And make you feel more connected with yourself or with other people. And then here in Vegas, I feel kind of disconnected from that version. I'm having fun. I'm not saying I'm not happy, and I'm not saying I'm depressed, but I'm like, that happiness is like, not that I don't have access to it. I wouldn't say I'm not happy, but it kind of just started qualifying happiness in a way that was like, I think often you can think, oh, fun is happiness. Whereas happiness actually is a fulfilling life where you're trying to make the world a better place rather than like consume. And happiness can come from, or fun can be like a consumption. Is this all making sense?
You can be fun and have happy, or being happy having fun.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Huh?
No, it is. It's an interesting. It's a subtle distinction, but I think the only way you even know about it is because you've been tapping into your happiness and your purpose, and we're really good at having fun. Like, we know how to do that. We're really good at that. I feel like that's our expertise, and like our, the slow but sure side mission that we're always working on is, being happy. It almost feels inherent to our situation because we feel very fulfilled in this relationship and our career and whatever, family stuff. But it does take work. And I feel like having fun, it's an important part of happiness, but it isn't the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like a qualifier on how you go about the stuff that you do. Like you have fun doing the stuff that feels like purposeful and meaningful and soul fulfilling. And you can do that with fun. But if you aren't doing those things and you're just having fun, you're like missing a big part of the pie of like life.
Yeah.
And it just really, I don't know, when you look at our capitalist society and global society, and especially America's like this consumerist culture, you just feel like they want you to consume to be happy, but they're not connected. And that's what Coke has always sold us. It's like, oh, if you consume this, you'll be happy. And I feel like spending a week in Vegas is like just a tangible feeling of that, of like, wow, I'm having fun, but I'm not buying happiness.
Yes. That's really good. Yeah, because happiness isn't something you can do.
It's not something that comes from outside of yourself.
No.
And I think you just have to. It takes a lot
of work and discipline.
Yeah, and I think we're told from such a young age, like, happiness comes from outside of you. If you have this thing, you'll be happy. You'll be happy when you have this. You'll be happy when you have that. And I think when you're consuming for happiness, you can almost get further away from what actually makes you happy because you're looking so outside of yourself. And it's interesting to go through these experiences of, like, being in church and the sphere and seeing like this amazing experience, but also knowing like that's like inside of me too. Yes.
I think that was a huge takeaway from me. We saw Dead and Company at the Sphere a couple nights. We saw them last night and the night before. Incredible shows. But that is one of the things I thought about. You know, because most shows we go to, I spend most of the time with my eyes closed because I just like music is just like, it's such like a personal, like inward experience. Like I'm trying to tune out the other senses so I can tap into an inner landscape that's much more rich than what I can take in at a show usually. Whereas at the Sphere, you're in this dome of visual overstimulation. And it really is like, it's blowing your mind, like in every conceivable way. It's like, how is this possible? I cannot believe this thing exists. I can't believe what they're doing. Oh, that's so clever, this and that. But it is diminishing the thing that the music kind of makes you do. It's interesting to try to do both at once. I felt torn in a little bit two different directions. You know, the venue is kind of being like, this is the thing. The visual, like we built this thing. It's the thing. It's outside of you. You got to look at it. You have to, you know, and the music is actually decidedly telling you something very different, especially with Grateful Dead music, you know. So it was very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I loved it. I mean, if anyone has an opportunity to try to get,
you should go.
Take us to the Sphere, like experience it. It's incredible.
I would say you should experience it. Like,
and I think it's just going to get better. I mean, the visuals are incredible, but obviously they can program an infinite amount of things, and as they get...
Yeah. There's only been maybe 50 shows at this place, and
it feels like going towards the future or something.
It feels like you stepped into the future for a little bit.
There's something about that with Vegas, too, because we keep walking into casinos and you're like, this feels like a DMT trip.
It really does.
And I was like, yeah, there is something about the way the neon lights and the colors are just like in these little booths that just go up, you know, and you just feel like you're in this Alex Gray painting or DMT world of psychedelic colors flashing, and it does feel like, oh, it's trying to recreate something, and maybe that's why it can be so soothing for people.
Well, it's not only soothing for people, it becomes sacred to people. You know, there's like, if you look at like Middle Eastern churches and temples and like the way that some of them are designed, like literally looks like a damn Alex Gray painting. It looks like a DMT trip. And these were done back in the day, you know, and now we have these casinos and spheres experiences that kind of do that.
Modern
That's the
churches,
new religion. Yeah.
It's a new religion for sure.
But the Sphere is it's a modern wonder. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of weird that it's in Vegas.
but also perfect.
It's kind of perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Look, we made a calculated decision when we first heard about the Sphere. We were like, we got to get in there. We want to go see something there. And then they announced these Dead and Company shows, and you're like, even though we were kind of like, Dead and Company's a thing in the past, like whatever, we're like, who else is going to play there that we would want to see this bad?
Well, I think, and I'm trying to think.
So we made a calculated decision.
No, it was a calculated decision. I'm glad we went. But last night I was like, the Rolling Stones have to play here.
Yeah, that was the last thing you said to me while we were in there. You're like, wait, the Stones are going to have to.
I don't know if those tickets will be affordable, but they're going to play.
They're not affordable for Dead and Company. I can't imagine they would be.
The
affordable.
tickets I got in. Oh, and if you go get like in the 400s.
Go. There's no bad seats. There is bad seats, but they're closer to the bottom. Go up towards the top. That's the best experience.
Yeah. Blast. Sorry, what did we say before that?
I don't know. You're saying something about the Stones and.
Oh yeah, just seems like. I mean, I would see a bunch of Grateful Dead cover bands. I just can't imagine. They could do so much in there.
Would you see Dave Matthews in there?
Oh, probably not, because I'd have to go alone, and I wouldn't drag you to that. That would actually probably be a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, look, for most bands, it's not necessary at all, but like the novelty of going into this thing and like drums in space in this place is like the culmination of what drums in space was meant to be since they first started regularly doing it in 1978. It was like it was all leading to this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the show feels like. And if you dare think that that's a good time to go take a leak, you're about to miss out on like a religious experience.
Totally.
You got to sit tight for that. The seats vibrate. Everything's synced up. The visuals are synced up to the beating of the drum. The seats are vibrating. The whole building feels like it's about to shake loose.
Yeah.
During drums in space.
Oh my God, they got you. Well, I don't even want to say how they got you, but we kept getting very confused about the visuals. We're like, wait.
The visuals are so high def and compellingly real that I got fooled a couple times. Both times when you go in there, like
we can't.
You don't want to spoil it?
No.
Okay, cool. Well, Cass thinks it's important that we don't spoil the Sphere experience.
But basically, yeah, you felt like, like things that you thought were.
You go in there and you're like, oh, okay, I see what this is. Like you have that moment of awe, but you're like, oh, I see what this is. It's a spoof.
Yeah.
It was a fake thing to make it like it's almost like they want to set the bar low when you first walk in. You walk in there and you're like, whoa, okay, well, this is pretty awe-inspiring. Wow, we're really high up here. This is crazy. And then you kind of like look around and you're like, okay, oh, I see what this is. And then once the show starts, it reveals what it really is. And you're like, it's completely breathtaking. It really is. Like, they crushed it on every conceivable front. And, yeah, it was super enjoyable. I don't know what to say. Like, it's not as dirty as we like things. Like, like, it's a hard thing to describe to people, our taste, but I think that there's something that we like that's just like a little bit less precious and more real and a little bit like more fucked up and not perfect. And there's elements of that at the Sphere, but it's a very dialed in like
experience.
It's an experience. It's a perfect thing. It's like sit back and enjoy the show. And you're about to go for the ride of a lifetime. But like there's part of you that when you go to a Dead show that you're expecting like a level of degeneracy that is just a little wispy in this experience. And some people might be relieved by that.
Yeah, no.
Some people might be like, oh, this
definitely has a broader appeal. Like
yes.
We even saw a cover band after the show last night and we were like,
We're
damn,
like,
get these guys in the Sphere.
Yeah, like this is even better than the fucking Dead and Company. Like literally a cover band playing in a lounge.
Well, because they were a little more gritty.
Casino.
They were like, sometimes the Dead and Co can be a little corn dog or whatever I call it.
Yeah, you call them corn dogs.
A little corn dog. But, yeah, so great.
It really was. The first night, we were back there with the back row heads. So it's like if we're gonna be near the heart of degeneracy at all in the place, we were closer to it. And yeah, I don't know what was going on. I don't know what was going on around us because I'll admit it, we had a little spray bottle with ketamine in it. You know, we were on some good doses, and you know, we were a little fucked up. So I had to like kind of tune out what was going around us. But there was some weird shit going on. Like, I think that the workers at the Sphere aren't used to whatever they were seeing.
A guy looking like totally passed out.
Multiple people looking like FUBAR,
They're like frying on acid.
fucked up beyond recognition.
I don't even think it's a place to like go crazy.
No, it's not the place to do it. It like that's why it seemed so out of place. Like, so like we're sitting there trying to enjoy the concert, and like there's a lady that works there that's like fucking asking everyone if they're okay. Interrupting people who are like have their eyes closed, they're just like dancing, like, hey, is he okay, is he, and then like people are like, what are you talking about? Like,
At some
how
point
would I know?
they stopped him so many times that I saw when someone was going to stop him again. I'm like,
You're
he's
like,
okay.
he's fine. He's just nodding out on heroin in a concert right now.
I don't think no, because he would pop too anytime someone.
Yeah.
He was just feeling it. He was feeling it, man. You know, it's so funny. The visuals are so good that I was thinking about like, wow, if this is what it looks like when I die, all I'm gonna think is, yeah, this is kind of like Sphere.
The Sphere.
This is like kind of like Dead and Company, the Sphere.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there was some moments where the visuals were so compelling and hit me so hard that it felt like all my DMT trips up until that experience were like precognition for being in the Sphere.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'd cut to a visual and I'd be like, Cass, this is the first time I smoked DMT was this.
Yeah.
Exactly this. Or like, I'm like, remember when we took mushrooms in Big Sur? We were both in this fucking thing. You know, like I was having really trippy moments of like, wait a second, was it all leading to this for me? Like, what the heck is this? How did somebody figure this out?
Obviously places other people have gone.
Yes.
You know, and
Yeah.
they make visuals based on it.
Yeah.
But I did have a moment where I was like, God, it's gonna be so weird to die and not be like almost to be being like connecting it to, oh yeah, that concert I saw in 2024.
Well, I don't know. If that was a taste of the future, that's kind of what all concerts will be like.
Honestly, it's so great that I think it will be. I was thinking like, I was like, who would be able to pull this off? Like, it'd be hard. And then I'm like, people need this. Like,
Yeah.
most musical acts need this.
Yes, they could really use this.
They could actually really use this.
What about like Billy Joel, the Piano Man?
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
You'd love to see the Piano Man in there?
Yeah, I mean, you're flying over. It's like IMAX times 10. It's like I mean, imagine watching a nature documentary in there.
Yeah.
It'd be insane. So basically, any music that is more exciting than, you know, the sound of a bird chirping would be amazing.
It's so many layers of novelty that it's like a natural drug experience when you go in. That's what you're paying for. Like when we got in there, I was like, yeah, we paid like $150 for these nosebleeds. It was worth it. I was like, this was very much like, that sounds expensive, but when you get in there and experience it, you're like, oh, I see what they're trying to do here. This is crazy. This is like it's unlike anything else. And it was so cool on that first night that we were in the back row. So we were right where people would come in and see the place for the first time. And as people watchers, wasn't that so dope?
Yeah, people are like, whoa.
Just hearing one after the other people's initial experience of walking into this place. Like, it was like, whoa, holy shit. Like, people were just completely blown away. I mean, it's awe-inspiring. It's totally like an awe-inspiring kind of thing. That said, I could go on a bad trip about like the corporatization of everything and the...
No, there was one time where I turned a tie and I was like, this is kind of like, they had, like, during the step break, they had put up, like, lyrics.
Yeah.
And it looked like T-Mobile Pink, and there were lyrics that were, like, very short.
Yeah.
And it was, like, in this Helvetica font or something. It's like, don't tell me this town ain't got no heart. And I was like, there's something so dystopian about that right now in this You know what I mean? And just in this corporate hellscape of
Yeah.
like where they're gonna get you.
Oh yeah, they
You know,
want you, and
they
they're
want
going
you
to
and
get
they're
you.
gonna get you.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's the part of it. That's that moment of clarity that you're trying to hide from the whole time you're in Las Vegas. So, like, that's where I was really having to suspend my disbelief in those. It was in those moments where you're like, yo, I'm getting hit with like cold corporate future dystopia vibes, like as applied to one of my favorite things, Grateful Dead.
yeah.
Like, what is this? What the fuck is going on here? Why is Bobby playing down there? What are these guys doing? Like.
But they're offering an incredible experience for people to have like church like religious experiences.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, they are. They are. But yeah, definitely. It comes with. There's a flip side to every coin, and you're in there and you're like, this is perfect. You're overhearing everyone around you say, well, this is the best concert I've ever seen.
Yeah.
People have gone to hundreds of concerts. Like, Deadheads aren't like noobs.
Mm-hmm.
And people, like, literally you're watching people get their minds blown. You're having your mind blown. That little voice will creep in there. The angel on your shoulder in Las Vegas.
I know, I'm such a hater, and it's like whenever I see a movie with you, I try to wait till I'm in the car to like eviscerate it.
Of course. You don't want to hear other people to hear you do that.
Yeah.
You don't want to ruin it. If they had a good experience, you don't want to.
I try to be sensitive. I'm even trying to be sensitive here because there is part of me that just like has such a natural instinct to eviscerate things.
Yeah.
Just be like, and then I'm like, why would I do that? I'm not saying I want to eviscerate this experience, but there's.
I mean, obviously, if we tried, we could do that. Or if we tried, we could put it up in the other way. I think that the goal of our life and this podcast and the reason we do this is to just kind of, it's like almost like a diary entry. Like, let's just touch in with our real feelings about it.
Well, it's also a middle ground too of like, it's kind of being able to see it all at once.
Yeah.
And kind of speak to like, the complicated nature of like something really beautiful, but like predatory consumption practices, it's like
well, I mean, it's part of the dance of taking awareness enhancing drugs, going in there.
Yeah.
If we were going in there on like booze and Adderall or Coke or whatever people are, like, we're taking LSD. And it's kind of like it puts you in a perspective that includes everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's not tuning out frequencies; it's tuning them all in. So, I kind of like that. I kind of dig it. But it does come with those moments of like, whoa, what the fuck?
Well, that's what.
Am I getting duped right now?
Well, and that's yeah, exactly. Is this the opiate of the masses?
What the fuck is this? Do I want to tell my grandkids that I saw Dead and Company live, or should I keep this to myself?
No, that was great. Yeah, no, I think it's just I had a thought, but I lost it. It wasn't that nothing. Nothing. Not a thing. Not a thing left up here.
I'm trying to think and nothing
I'm
happens.
trying to think and nothing's happening.
Yeah, 7 nights in Vegas. Jesus Christ, that's enough, and people probably can definitely hear it right now. It fries you. It'll fry you out, and we're doing a pretty good job of taking care of ourselves and each other.
No, we take it so easy. It was a little hard to sleep.
Yeah.
But that's the city that doesn't sleep.
No, that's New York.
Okay.
But New York does sleep. This place truly doesn't. You could sit down at a blackjack table and 27 hours could go by, and you wouldn't even know.
Yeah, there's part of me that was like, should I be a blackjack dealer? You just see all this.
You just want to be part of the game.
I'm just like, let's get it.
You fucking love
Let's
it.
get in here.
It will. You know what it is for you? It's cute. It's a new drug.
Yeah.
And it's one you think about and you've wanted to try for a long time. You've been saying to me for months, if not years, like, we gotta get in a casino.
Yeah, it's not like my budget for a $200 casino run has been 5 years deep in the sense of I've been saying for that $200 is the same $200 I've been talking about for the last 5 to 10 years.
Wow.
If you think about it like that.
Yeah, so in a way it's really only like $120 $15 or whatever with inflation.
Or like $10 a year, $20 a year
Mm-hmm.
towards this gambling habit.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'd rather. I mean, it's just whenever you think there's a shortcut, you're always
Yeah.
just like whiplashed back.
Oh, no, I knew it too because we were leaving there. And you were like, that was so fun. Oh, my God. And like we woke up the next day with you saying, and you're like, I would go back there. I would love to go back there, this and that. And I'm like, oh, Cass is going to get humbled. I kind of know what this is. I know what happened. I'm aware of what happened here. And I was like, Cass is like, in some way we're going to get humbled. And we just got humbled by losing $90 in 3 minutes, you know? So
I was like, this game sucks.
yeah,
Let's get out of here.
yeah.
But it really makes me not want to ever gamble again. Like, I'm like, that feeling was horrible.
You've seen me have that moment.
I don't want to do that again.
You've witnessed me before you were gambling with me. You saw me sit down at a table, lose like $250 in 10 minutes, and then I was like, "By the way, I'm never gambling again."
Yeah, it's like getting drunk.
And you're like, "Whatever, I don't care."
It's like, yeah, you get hungover and you're like, I'm never drinking again, and then you like ultimately do it, and you're like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, yeah.
But luckily, people can learn from us. You can skip the whole Kalamazoo.
Is this a cautionary tale? Even winning $25 in Vegas. We probably sat at the tables for like 3 hours and we came out $25 ahead. For some people, that wouldn't be a cautionary tale. It probably sounds like we had a pretty damn good time out here.
I think the cautionary tale is that, Vegas is going to take your money one way or another. And
yeah,
it just seems to be the truth.
I think the cautionary tale has to do with, like you were saying, having fun versus happiness. And like, it's cool to have fun out here. But the shortcuts aren't worth it. I think, I don't know. I just function much better with like purpose and drive and hard day's work. Oh, we put in the effort. I thrive in that much more than I thrive in the like, all right, how do we do mindless self-indulgence again today? It just feels not in full alignment with who I am and like what brings out the best in me. So I am very much looking forward to getting back into focus.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. It feels like this being here just brings you a little bit out of focus. And I'm ready to just turn the lens, get it sharp, and let it rip again.
Hell yeah.
I don't know what else could be said about that.
Should anything else be said about it?
Maybe a couple more minutes worth of things could be said. Holy shit. Damn, girl.
We saw a fun baseball game. We walk in. I feel like we get really lucky sometimes. We could go to a local baseball game, minor leagues out here.
Yeah.
And we walk in, kind of a slow tide game, watch a few innings. There's like 7 hits that happen.
Yeah, we watched like all the runs.
I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
It feels like that was also like night 2 of being here. Like, so just you got to think about it. Like, the longer we stay here, the more we're just tempting fate to get fucking humbled. Because when you're messing around with chasing fun as opposed to happiness, you are going for like warp zone shortcuts.
Yeah.
And those will catch up to you.
Adrenaline rushes.
Yes, those will catch up to you. I felt it a little bit this morning when I woke up. I'm like, whoa, our whole year was kind of leading to the last couple nights, and now we did that. And you're like, whew, you just get that little bit of like, okay, okay, we're about halfway through the year now. Let me realign my senses. Let me get my head turned right side up and figure out what I'm all about now. I mean, we have lots more tickets to lots more concerts. Just felt like the summer kickoff. But basically, what I'm saying is, when you're chasing those little dopamine blasts or whatever they are, the shortcuts towards what you think is going to be sustainable happiness, and you're out here in Vegas, the longer you spend here, the more you're tempting fate to show you the balance of it all.
Well, I think there's something so solo that happens with this sort of consumption. It's like you're like spending money on a show for yourself to have the experience.
It feels very indulgent.
Yeah, like okay, I spent this money on this for me to have an experience and I can
Yeah.
enjoy that experience, but like when you spend money on something else, sometimes you're just like, "Oh, okay, now we're all having barbecue right now or something."
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and it like you also get a sense of that, especially at the beginning of the show. It's like, well, everyone that made it in here is the lottery winners. We were all the deadheads were put in competition with each other to see who could get into the show, and then you
There
get
was
in
like
there.
20,000 people online. I was like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's insane to try to get these tickets to really any of the shows we go to. And then you're like, wow, well, I beat out all my homies to get in here. I'm one of the. And then you see people are fighting over their seats and bringing ushers over. Oh, they're standing in my thing. Get this person out of here. No, I said that was mine. And it's like, like all to just to have this experience to listen to transcendent music. It's just like, I don't know. Yeah, it can bring up a lot. It can really bring up a lot. And yeah, it feels like there's no ethical consumption. There is no ethical consumption, and believe it or not, that's what we were doing. We were going there to have a consumable experience, and there's just no ethical way you can do it. You're walking past people in the worst struggle of their life while you're going to have like the drugged out time of your life, and it's all so fleeting. It's all so fleeting, and I'm very aware at this age that I would probably have a more memorable, more happiness producing great time if we would have just stopped and focused on the homeless guy that we saw on the way over there and said, you know what? We don't have to go to this show. All the money we were going to spend on this, let's make sure this guy like is okay. You know what I mean? It might sound trite, but I'm saying that's the difference.
No, it sounds real. It's hard. I think I agree with you. But to live that when like it feels like the freeway to like the fun thing and buy this fun ticket, it's like it's so pre-worn.
Yeah, Carefree Highway.
That pathway
to
like, all right, we're going to go to like, because I was thinking a lot about, and maybe this is where we can turn it over to Patreon or whatever, but because I feel like we get into a new topic, but like relationships, and how a relationship's a lot of work, and you're saying like, hey, I'll make sure that you're having a good trip. And that's, I think, why relationships end up not working out, is because you either feel like you can't make someone happy or whatever it is. And when you do it for yourself, you're like, okay, well, I know how to make myself have fun. And then it feels like tired, like almost impossible to figure that out for someone else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I do know what you mean. And look, I just say that to just add some perspective, because like I was saying to you, I'm like, you and I, if we didn't plan to like, hey, let's on our filming trip, let's land in Vegas and see Dead and Company. If you and I didn't like, block out these days as like, hey, this is Sean and Cass vacation vibes, we don't do that. You know what I mean? We wouldn't do that for ourselves, because we know it's not as fulfilling as what a regular week in our life feels like. So we've made a regular week in our life feel so good and pure and filled with intentions and acts of service and all this great stuff, that doing this for a week has like a haunting underbelly that I have become alarmingly aware of a couple times while we've been out here.
Well, I don't think those are feelings to push down, and I think it's a collective thing.
That's why I'm mentioning it.
Yeah, I think
I could sit here and just jack off all over this experience, but like I could also be real with you and be like, yeah, there's something haunting about most of the perfection of it all, how dialed in these industries have it to kind of get our attention and steal our attention and keep us distracted and distractible.
Well, yeah, I feel, yeah, exactly. I think right now, collectively, we're kind of, always going through an awakening or a radicalization,
Yes.
Seeing how our habits affect other people and that sort of thing. And so it's just something we all become more hyper aware of and try to adjust. And I think that's exactly why I'm even what we're talking about. Like, okay, what is the goal here?
Yeah.
Like as humans, is it like to get mine, or is it to like spread the love?
Exactly.
And it's something that you
Exactly.
compete with yourself about, because you know it's love. You know that the only way out and through is with love. But there's part of you that is like so pre-programmed to get yours.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
the difference between happiness and fun.
and then you judge people that are getting theirs, and then you don't even look at the way you're getting your own. And
Yeah.
I don't know, you always become what you hate, which I have to learn over and over and over again.
Well, that's where the self-judgment comes in, because I think that the things that make us happy are very like well balanced. It's like a really good meal, and the things that help us have fun are like not always.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly. And it just, because sometimes can, I don't know, when you hop from one mode into the other very quickly, and all of a sudden you're just in Vegas, and you literally can't go outside until 8 p.m. at night. It's so goddamn hot. Like, just some things come up to the surface, and I'm not medicating them with alcohol or the things that like probably make a city like this go around. But yeah. I might be going to hell in a bucket, but at least I'm enjoying the ride.
That seems to be the song of the week.
Yeah. Do you want to go over onto the Patreon? And there's some more personal stuff I would love to talk about.
Yeah.
Get
Sure.
crazy with us. Get crazy with us over on patreon.com/churchofchill. If you're one of these people that's like, I hear them say that every week, but I don't know why I don't even consider it. Just consider it. You don't even have to do it. Just consider that, like, it helps us, and it makes us happy. And there's so much more time you could spend with us on there. So much stuff at this point. An embarrassment of riches for just $2 a month or more if you have it.
Nice ad.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you your thoughts on that.
Great.
Cool. So we'll be over for part 2. We'll be on patreon.com/churchofchill. This is the Very 8 podcast. We're Sean and Cass from Vegas trying to do our thing. Peace, love, and magic.